The day prior to my scheduled engagement with my boyfriend, he vanished. Subsequently, the police discovered his blood-stained garments by the seaside. All individuals advised me to grieve, yet I refrained from tears or commotion and promptly obtained a marriage certificate with his closest friend. 5 years later, an unexpected encounter occurred at a bridal shop where my former boyfriend was assisting an unfamiliar girl in selecting a wedding dress. His acquaintances collectively defended him, stating, "Miles was abducted that year and narrowly escaped death, only to lose his memory. Please do not hold it against him." My ex-boyfriend scrutinized me and remarked, "So, you are my destined yet unfulfilled ex-girlfriend? You do not appear impressive. For the sake of your years of unrequited affection, I will reluctantly marry you." Before I could respond, my 3-year-old daughter positioned herself in front of me and declared, "Uncle, you must not bully my mommy, or I will tell my daddy to beat you." Observing the sudden appearance of the child, Miles furrowed his brow, while his friend nearby expressed confusion, asking, "Rena, who is this little girl? Is she your goddaughter?" It is unsurprising that they speculated, as I was once adamantly determined to marry only Miles, a resolve that greatly troubled both families and surrounding friends. Following Miles' disappearance, everyone feared I might despair and offered counsel both overtly and covertly. However, I had no inclination to engage with his superficial companions and stated directly, "You have mistaken me, I am not your ex-girlfriend. Allow me to introduce my biological daughter." I lifted my daughter and prepared to depart the bridal shop when the clerk called out, "Miss, the wedding dress you ordered is ready." Without turning back, I replied, "Discard the dress. The remaining payment will be transferred to your account." Ultimately, Miles could not restrain himself and intercepted me before I exited, saying, "Your name is Rena, correct?" My friends informed me that I had an incident the day before our engagement. "Though I do not recall you, I intend to honor my commitment, and you need not bring a child to provoke me." Miles feigned innocence, yet a gleam of satisfaction lurked in his eyes, as he was convinced that my profound love for him precluded the possibility of marrying and bearing a child with another in the mere years following his disappearance. He then directed his attention to the daughter in my arms and asked, "Little one, tell Uncle who your mommy is?" She replied in a childish tone, "This is my mommy, her name is Rena," to which Miles' smile remained unchanged as he gently admonished, "Little one, lying is not proper behavior." Observing Miles' intent to persist, I interjected firmly, "Sir, you have misidentified me. If you continue, I will report you for harassment." Miles ruefully touched his nose and reluctantly stepped aside. After verifying my departure, a friend patted Miles on the shoulder and remarked, "Miles, it appears you have overstepped this time. Rena seems genuinely upset." Miles dismissed the concern with a wave of his hand, saying, "Relax, we grew up together. I know her disposition well. She will be vexed for a few days at most, and after I enjoy myself for another month, I will tell her my memory has returned, and she will surely embrace me in tears of joy." I returned to the villa with my daughter in my arms, where Ethan was preparing a meal in the kitchen. Upon hearing our arrival, she gleefully leapt into his embrace, exclaiming, "Daddy, today at the bridal shop, a mean uncle bullied mommy, you must stand up for her." The little one clenched her tiny fists, her ferocity endearing. A glint of coldness flashed through Ethan's eyes as he prepared to inquire further, but his phone rang at that moment. With his hands covered in grease, he instructed, "Sweetie, fetch Daddy's phone," and she deftly retrieved it from his pocket, activating the speaker with practiced ease. "Ethan, I neglected to consult the almanac before leaving today and encountered Rena at the bridal shop. She appears truly incensed and even brought a little girl to taunt me. I have made a grave error this time. You are my best friend, please assist me." Miles' voice resounded through the speaker, amplified in the spacious living room, prompting a shift in Ethan's gaze as he swiftly ended the call. I regarded him with a wry smile and teased, "Best friend, you absolutely must aid him." My daughter's small head tilted in puzzlement as she queried, "Daddy, why does this voice sound like the man who bullied mommy at the bridal shop?" Ethan abruptly redirected the conversation, announcing, "Dinner is ready, let us eat." Miles and I were childhood companions, raised together since youth. His sunny and vivacious nature, coupled with a charming tongue, readily endeared him to girls. During university, in pursuit of Miles, I frequently professed my affection beneath his dormitory, delivered love letters to his classes, and brought him breakfast, eliciting both envy and admiration from those around us. I proclaimed that Miles was my chosen partner, warning, anyone who dares to mistreat him should not expect leniency from me. Our families were of comparable status, and he treated me exceedingly well, taking me skiing, skydiving, and accompanying me to various business gatherings. Our relationship was tacitly acknowledged by all around us. The elders of both families selected an auspicious date to formalize our union, yet on the eve of our engagement, Miles disappeared, everyone mobilized in search, ultimately alerting the police, who located his blood-stained attire by the coast and hypothesized that he had met with misfortune. That evening, I received an anonymous video in which Miles was seen sharing a ceremonial drink with an unknown girl, laughing recklessly and defiantly, declaring, "Marriage is the tomb of love, who wishes to enter it so soon? I will feign death and revel for a few years, when I tire of it, I will marry Rena. Meanwhile, please counsel her diligently to prevent any rash actions." An individual inquired, "Are you not concerned that Rena might marry another?" Miles scoffed, "Rest assured completely, I understand Rena's character. Whether I am dead or alive, she would remain a widow for me." The video abruptly concluded, rendering all my sorrow a mockery in that instant. The following day, I encountered Ethan, pressured by his family into marriage. At the Civil Affairs Bureau entrance, I proposed, "Shall we register? You and I." Ethan adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, his expression impassive, and simply replied, "Yes." Thus, Ethan and I became legally wedded without a ceremony, merely obtaining a certificate, and informing no relatives or friends. During dinner, Ethan remarked, "You were dissatisfied with today's wedding dress. I have instructed the designer to remake it. Please convey your preferences and requirements to them." I responded tepidly, "We will discuss it later." Ethan frowned and questioned, "Do you intend for my daughter to remain illegitimate indefinitely?" I set down my chopsticks and retorted, "Ethan, we agreed, I would assist you in fending off those women and your family's marital pressures, and you would monitor Miles' whereabouts. Were it not for that drunken mishap, I would not have borne this child. Upon discovering my pregnancy, I intended to terminate it, but your repeated assurances persuaded me to keep her. If you fear gossip about her, you could grant her the status of a G family heiress, though I presently prefer my identity remain undisclosed." Ethan sneered, cradled our daughter, and turned to leave. A month passed in this manner, during which Ethan subtly undermined Miles' company. A month later, Miles messaged me without receiving a reply, called me only to find himself blocked, and resorted to using a friend's phone to contact me, saying, "Rena, good news, I have regained my memory." I remained silent and promptly hung up. Presuming I had not heard, Miles texted again via his friend's phone, "Rena, good news, my memory has returned, I am Miles. You have endured much these years, henceforth, I will bear your burdens. Call me back upon reading this, I miss you." Ethan's eyes turned icy as he replied directly, "My wife is bathing and unavailable, address any matters to me." Miles immediately grew agitated, inundating me with calls, which Ethan blocked and deleted without hesitation. The next day, Miles awaited me on my usual route. Seeing me driving alone, he sighed in relief and said, "Rena, I brought your favorite steamed buns. Look, they're still fresh." He opened my car door with familiarity and entered, the aroma of the buns filling the vehicle, causing me to grimace. "Get out," I commanded. Miles paused and pleaded, "Rena, are you still upset with me?" I was amnesiac then and genuinely unaware of our bond. Had I known, I would not have uttered words to wound you. Before I could reply, Miles eagerly presented the buns, the stench of subpar meat nauseating me. I snatched them from him and hurled them out the window into a trash bin. "I never eat steamed buns," I stated, enunciating each word as I fixed my gaze upon him. Miles slapped his forehead in regret, saying, "Rena, my apologies, I only just recovered my memory and forgot your preferences, my fault. What do you like? I'll have the driver fetch it for you." "I'll repeat myself, get out," I issued a final ultimatum with a stern expression. Miles maintained a cheeky grin, responding, "Rena, I truly know I erred, why not strike me a couple times to vent? I've returned safely now, both families' elders still await our nuptials. You've been upset long enough, our years of affection shouldn't be forsaken over this trifle." Unwilling to prolong the exchange, I summoned security to eject him. No sooner had he been rebuffed than Miles' young girlfriend approached, calling, "Brother Miles, didn't you say you were buying me breakfast?" This was the same girl I had encountered at the bridal shop previously. She appeared around 20, with a touch of youthful plumpness, quite charming. Miles indeed possessed discerning taste in partners. "Vera, be good, I'm occupied now. Return home first," he said, pressing a card into her hand, adding, "There's 100,000 on this card, the pin is your birthday. Buy whatever you desire, and if it's insufficient, let me know." After considerable coaxing, he persuaded the girl to leave. Vera, a 22-year-old part-time milk tea shop worker from an impoverished family that favored sons, had been compelled to abandon her education to fund her brother's studies. Upon learning this, Miles magnanimously purchased the shop and gifted her a villa. Miles' clothing remained in my car, and upon my arrival, I witnessed this spectacle. I declared, "Your clothes have soiled my vehicle," and tossed them at his feet, prompting his eyes to light up as he said, "Rena, you still can't let go of me, can you? Otherwise, you wouldn't have come personally to return my clothes." "It's not as you perceive, I merely pitied that girl. You're unaware of how deplorable her parents are." I cut short his incessant chatter, stating, "Her family affairs do not concern me." As Miles prepared to speak further, my phone rang. I answered it in his presence, and Ethan's voice, amplified via speaker, inquired, "Honey, why haven't you come up yet?" I replied, "I've encountered a minor issue here, I'll be up shortly." Ethan's voice resounded again, "All right, honey, drive carefully and stay safe, the baby and I await you at our usual spot, love you." A forceful tug followed as Miles seized my phone, exclaiming, "You're an actor hired by Rena, aren't you? How much did she pay you?" "I'll double it, no, tenfold." Ethan's tone chilled as he responded, "Miles, I am Rena's husband, and I wish for you to cease disturbing us." Miles found the voice familiar yet could not identify its source. As he geared to probe further, my phone signaled a shutdown. I rubbed my temples, having forgotten to charge it in my haste, snatched it back, and turned to leave, with Miles calling after me, "Rena, you needn't provoke me thus. That person was a professional actor you hired, right?" Admittedly, it was quite convincing. Miles slapped his forehead in frustration, adding, "I nearly forgot the important matter. There's a business gathering tonight. I'm attending on behalf of the family. Don't forget." I arrived at Ethan's office, where my daughter played quietly with building blocks. His office, formerly dominated by dark gray tones, had been transformed since her arrival, with a small playground installed in one corner, and his former lounge repurposed into a children's room. As I ascended, Ethan stood with his back to me before a vast floor-to-ceiling window, surveying the scene below. From that vantage, all that had transpired at the entrance was fully visible. "At tonight's business gathering, I plan to disclose your identities," Ethan stated bluntly, without preamble. I retorted, "I disagree," and he curtly demanded, "Reason? You understand better than I the alliance between our families." Before I could finish, Ethan interjected, "Spare me those lofty excuses, whether it's family disputes or Miles, you know the truth," advancing toward me step by step. An overwhelming sense of oppression enveloped me, prompting an uneasy step backward. He gripped my chin, warning, "Rena, human patience has limits, do not test mine." I slapped his hand away, my voice turning frigid. "Ethan, no one can compel me to act against my will, including you. If you feel psychologically unbalanced, we can terminate this at any time. The Civil Affairs Bureau operates tomorrow as usual. We can obtain a divorce certificate whenever." Ethan regarded me for a long while, an inscrutable emotion flickering in his eyes. I had no desire to attend the evening's business gathering, but my daughter slipped out unnoticed. The butler apologized profusely, "Miss Rena, I'm terribly sorry. I assumed the little miss had your permission to seek you." Ethan's gaze hardened as he warned, "If the child loses a single hair, your presence here will no longer be required." I accessed my daughter's voice message, "Mommy, don't argue with Daddy. It's all that bad uncle's fault. I'm going to confront him so he can never bully Mommy again." The car sped down the road, running several red lights consecutively. Upon reaching the destination, Ethan questioned the entrance guard, only to learn no little girl had been seen arriving. I called my daughter's smartwatch innumerable times, each attempt indicating it was powered off. Ethan deployed all available personnel under his command, and we searched separately. As I turned, I collided with Miles, accompanied by Vera in formal attire. His eyes sparkled as he exclaimed, "Rena, I knew you'd come." "Who was that just now?" Miles asked, having glimpsed only Ethan's back due to the angle. Disinclined to exchange pleasantries, I demanded, "Miles, where is my daughter?" He looked baffled, replying, "What daughter?" "Rena, your theatrics are sufficient, further acting is excessive." Dara's gaze toward me brimmed with hostility. Unwilling to engage, I turned to leave when she said, "You mean the little child in a floral dress, with two small buns, clutching a rabbit doll, don't you?" Dara's voice halted my steps. I strode forward in haste, urgently asking, "Where is she?" My frantic demeanor startled Miles beside me. "Rena, your performance is somewhat overboard. I know you're trying to capture my attention." "Shut up!" I bellowed, my patience exhausted, startling Vera as well. I don't know," she stammered. I seized her throat, demanding again, "Where is she?" Vera's face flushed as she gasped, I truly don't know. I only chanced upon her while shopping." She asked if I knew Brother Miles and said she was looking for him. Under my piercing stare, Vera trembled as she continued, "Then I said I didn't know him and left. I didn't see her afterward." "Do you take me for a fool?" I retorted, "I warn you, if anything happens to my daughter, you'll pay with your life." With that, I dashed outside, deeming Vera's words half-truths. Yet time was too precious to squander with her. I swiftly called Ethan, instructing him to check the intersection and store entrance surveillance, certain Vera had indeed encountered my daughter by chance but concealed more, as her evasive eyes betrayed. After reviewing footage from various sections, we discovered my daughter had entered a black car. I pursued it to a remote mountain village, isolated from any neighboring settlements. Ethan arrived with bodyguards. Fearing for her safety, we split up to search, and when we found her, she was covered in grime, her little dress torn by branches. My daughter sobbed inconsolably, clinging to my clothing in my arms, whimpering, "Mommy, I thought I'd never see you again. I was so scared, Mommy, woo-woo." After confirming my daughter was unharmed, I turned to the rural couple beside us. The man barked gruffly, "I bought this girl to be a child bride for my son, don't even think of taking her," in a thuggish manner, while the old woman venomously concurred, "Exactly, we paid for her. If you dare take her, I'll call the police." I laughed in fury at their audacity, the thieves accusing others of theft. I carried my daughter to a corner and whispered, "Sweetie, wait here for Mommy, I'll return shortly." Though terrified, she always obeyed my words unquestioningly. I blindfolded her with a silk scarf, instructing, "Sweetie, count from 1 to 100, and Mommy will come take you away." Eyes covered, she began counting earnestly with her tiny fingers, 1, 2, 3. My gaze turned icy. I strode to the couple, seized a nearby chair, and smashed it down on their heads. Having trained in Taekwondo for years, I might not best Ethan, but these two were well within my capability. By the time Ethan arrived with the bodyguards, the confrontation was nearly concluded. The couple lay bruised and swollen, blood streaming from their heads, eyes puffed into large lumps. Sprawled on the ground, they glared at me with venom, threatening, "I'll call the police, I'll ensure you rot in jail." Rubbing my aching wrist, I countered, "I'm the one who should report this. Let me enlighten you. Child trafficking typically carries a sentence of 5 to 10 years. I've already alerted the authorities for you. Prepare to languish in prison." Trust me, I am fully qualified to make this assertion. As my daughter's counting neared its end, I gently lifted her and headed out, glancing at Ethan as I passed, saying, "The rest is yours to handle." Upon returning home, my daughter's emotions gradually stabilized. She recounted asking Vera if she knew Miles, and Vera, mistaking her for Miles' daughter, told her boarding that car would lead her to him. My daughter, guileless, complied. She gazed up at me with innocent eyes, asking, "Mommy, why did that auntie lie to me?" "I got in that car but couldn't find the bad uncle who bullied you. They were mean, yelled at me, and wouldn't feed me, saying I'd be starved for days if I disobeyed. I felt so awful today, but when I saw Mommy, I didn't anymore." After she fell asleep, Ethan entered with a medical kit, stating, "I'll deal with that, Vera," his demeanor radiating frost this time. Vera had truly crossed his threshold. He grasped my wrist, rolling up my sleeve to reveal a significant swelling on my arm. I shook my head, saying, "No need, I can manage myself." Ethan paused while applying ointment, and a sharp pain shot through my wrist. He stated coldly, "This isn't up for discussion." Recognizing his harshness, he softened his tone, adding, "That couple will never see freedom again in this lifetime. The driver who abducted her has been apprehended as well." I hummed softly in acknowledgement, trusting Ethan to resolve these matters. We sat in silence as he applied the medicine, and just as I intended to ask him to leave, he interjected, "Still considering rekindling things with Miles?" I yanked my wrist to free it, but Ethan, well acquainted with my temper, held it firmly, preventing escape, and pressed on, "Rena, give me a chance, I'm no less than Miles." Before I could respond, his phone rang inopportunely, an unknown number. He moved to disconnect, but I urged, "Answer it, what if it's about that driver?" As the call connected, Miles' voice emerged once more, "Ethan, is your phone broken? I couldn't reach you. Rena seems to genuinely have a daughter. You told me to bring Vera to the banquet." Though Ethan terminated the call swiftly, Miles' words carried through clearly. When explanation eluded him, Ethan opted for silence. The next day, without a word, I stormed to Vera's shop, where Miles was coincidentally present, as Vera approached, saying, "Miss Rena, you." I struck her across the face with force, causing her cheek to swell instantly. Miles reacted promptly, shielding Vera behind him, demanding, "What are you doing?" I regarded him icily, ordering, "Step aside, or I'll hit you too." He widened his eyes, exclaiming, "Are you mad? Talk it out, why resort to violence? If Vera offended you, I'll apologize on her behalf, alright?" Miles' persistent defense fueled my burgeoning rage. I shouted, "Miles, you can't meddle in this. Because of her, my daughter was sold to a remote village. If I hadn't found her in time, who knows how much she'd have suffered. Who else should I hold accountable if not her?" Miles stammered, "That little girl is really your daughter?" I thought. Then turned to Vera, asking, "Vera, did you really?" Vera clutched her face, tears streaming as she bit her lip, resolute, "I didn't. If Miss Rena wishes to frame me, she should devise a better pretext." Miles faced me, suggesting, "Rena, could you be mistaken? Vera's always been kind. This likely has nothing to do with her." Vera echoed, "Miss Rena, catching a thief requires loot, catching adulterers needs pairs. Produce evidence, and I'll be speechless," her eyes brimming with concealed triumph and arrogance where Miles couldn't see. Vera had mastered computer technology in university. Erasing that surveillance segment was trivial for her, yet she was unaware that restoring it was equally effortless for me. I presented the footage to Miles, irrefutable evidence in hand, and declared, "This video will be submitted to the police. Their handling is their affair, but first, let's settle prior scores." In the footage, after my daughter boarded the car, a cruel smile crossed Vera's face, lingering in Miles' mind. He regarded her as if seeing her anew, speechless for a time. I maneuvered to her front, seized her hair, and slammed her against the wall. She cried, "Brother Miles, save me." Snapping from his daze, Miles grasped my arm, softening his tone for the first time. "Rena, for our years of friendship, spare Vera this once. I swear it won't happen again." I shook off his grip, my actions conveying an unequivocal no. Seeing me advance again, Miles, in desperation, grabbed a nearby vase and struck my head. Flustered, he stammered, "Rena, are you all right?" "I didn't mean it. Don't be afraid, I'll take you to the hospital." The vase shattered across the floor, accompanied by crimson blood dripping down, my vision blurred red, head throbbing intensely, strength seemingly sapped, as I staggered, shoving aside Miles' supportive arm to stand. "Rena," I heard as I fainted, collapsing into a broad embrace. Ethan's voice, laden with fury, sounded in my ear. Awakening groggily, I met his anxious face, urging, "Rena, hold on, don't sleep." I wished to assure him I was fine, but before I could speak, consciousness slipped away again. I remained hospitalized for a full month, during which Ethan permitted no disturbances. Miles visited several times, only to be expelled by Ethan's bodyguards. Ethan's wrath was palpable this time, indiscriminately targeting Miles' family company. Within a mere week, it sustained severe losses. Miles stormed the hospital, demanding why, to which Ethan replied with a single word, "Scram." Thwarted there, Miles redirected his efforts toward me. once recovered and home, he sent a lavish bouquet of roses to the villa, inscribed, "The loveliest flowers for the loveliest you." I ordered the bodyguards to dispose of them and sanitize the air. Ethan descended from the second floor, witnessing the scene, and remarked casually, "You two grew up together, and he doesn't even know you're allergic to pollen?" Though seemingly offhand, his words dug a subtle trap. This man was slyly cunning. I shot him a glance and countered, "We grew up together too, yet I was unaware of all you did behind my back. That video was from you anonymously, wasn't it?" Ethan didn't deny it, merely stating, "I didn't want you deceived like a fool." Thereafter, Miles sporadically engineered chance meetings. Ethan adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses, noting, "Dara's shop was reported for illegal operations and egregious tax evasion. Customers consumed contaminants, suffering vomiting and diarrhea with persistent symptoms." Dara was detained for investigation, driving Miles to desperation as he exhausted means to free her, while Ethan pressured the police, leaving Miles momentarily powerless. He sought me out, pleading, "Rena, our disputes aside, Dara is innocent. Can't you show leniency? A criminal record would ruin her life. Don't deny it. I know you orchestrated this, just agree to release her, and I'll marry you immediately." He paused, then persisted, "Last time was an impulsive lapse, but you're unharmed, and Ethan severed ties with me over you, causing my company grievous losses. For your sake I won't hold it against you, let's call it even." At this, I burst into laughter. Previously, I might have cherished our childhood bond, but from the moment he struck me with that vase, not a shred of affection remained between us. "Miles, debts demand repayment, murder demands life. When Vera targeted my daughter, she should have foreseen her fate," I declared, waving him off dismissively. "Rena, I don't wish to push this to the brink and harm our long-standing bond. If you agree to free Vera, I won't submit this," Miles said, slowly withdrawing a recording pen from his pocket, adding, "Our recent conversation is recorded. Don't force my hand." I replied indifferently, "Then submit it, see if it saves her." The following day, Miles was confined by his family. Ethan informed me he had taken the recording pen to the police, aiming to prove I masterminded this entrapment. Yet when he played it, everyone was dumbfounded. Not our dialogue emerged, but a song. Cheerful music reverberated through the hall, eliciting a spectrum of vivid expressions. The incident swiftly hit the media. Young Master Miles squandered a fortune for a rural girl, losing all dignity at the police station. Rumors proliferated, tarnishing his reputation in our circle. His elders were resolute, but Miles was more so, declaring, "If you want me to marry Rena, she must release Vera, otherwise, negotiations are off." His words so enraged his elders that they invoked family discipline. The Lee family sought reconciliation at our door but were repeatedly turned away. Seeing my intransigence, they approached my parents. I waved it off, stating, "No need to revisit this. The engagement is void. Next time the Lee family comes, expel them without courtesy." With Ethan's orchestration, Dara received a 15-year sentence. Upon hearing this, she lost her sanity, and after institutional evaluation, was committed to a mental hospital. Miles, learning of it, remained uncharacteristically silent, merely casting me a complex glance. 2 months later, someone vanished silently from the asylum, unnoticed by all. That day, my daughter's kindergarten teacher called, cautiously asking, "Nora's mom, did you pick up the child?" I was stunned, replying, "Isn't my daughter at kindergarten?" "She was there this morning. She wasn't seen during the activity. I assumed her grandparents took her." "Don't panic, Nora's mom, we'll search immediately." The teacher's voice trembled, near tears. Hanging up, I called Ethan. Upon learning she was missing, he cancelled his meeting and ordered the bodyguards to commence searching. A message arrived on my phone, "Your daughter is with me. If you want her safe, come alone to the city center hospital rooftop. If you bring anyone, I'll push her off immediately. Vera." My eyes turned utterly cold. A 40-minute journey shrank to 15 as I sped through, breaching multiple red lights. On the rooftop, my daughter's hands and feet were bound, her small face etched with grievance. Vera stood with her at the edge. A slight push, and she'd plummet. Steadying myself, I asked, "What do you want?" Dara's demeanor verged on madness as she ranted, "Rena, you've met your day too. Want me to release your daughter? Fine, kneel and beg me, and I'll let her go." I shook my head, replying, "You won't even if I kneel, you won't, all you seek is vengeance against me." Turning to my daughter, I soothed, "Sweetie, don't fear, mommy's here." Vera's eyes darkened with malice, snarling, "Why? Why were you born a lofty heiress, with everyone orbiting you? Why was I born into such a wretched family?" I refused to accept it. Sensing her unstable mental state, I refrained from further provocation. "Do you know how I endured 2 months in that asylum?" she raged. "They beat me, tossed dead rats onto my bed, doused me with cold water while I slept. If I displeased them slightly, they bludgeoned me. I longed to die, but even death was a luxury denied." "Rena, I'll make you see sparing my life was your gravest mistake," she vowed. My heart quaked. Ethan had even planted agents in the asylum. "Vera, you're young, with a promising life ahead. Are you certain you want to ruin it here?" I paused, then pressed, "Release my daughter. I'll give you money to flee far away. No one will heed your record." Vera erupted into laughter, retorting, "Rena, you think I still fear death? I only want to drag you to hell with me now." Seeing the situation veer beyond control, I hastily interjected, "What of Miles? Are you content to forsake him?" At his name, Vera's eyes quivered, her movements stalling as she murmured, "Brother Miles." She muttered to herself, "Brother Miles abandoned me all because of you. After rescuing me from the asylum, he severed ties." Her gaze turned venomous again as she hissed, "Rena, why does everyone revolve around you? Did you know I had to mold myself to your traits and tastes for Brother Miles to notice me? He said he liked me countless times, but never that he loved me." "I knew. I've always known he saw you through me," she confessed. "Your strong, unyielding nature drove Brother Miles to craft an obedient Rena in me. And I was your ideal proxy," she continued. "After he harmed you, he got blackout drunk the first time ever, stabbing his arm with a fruit knife. Had it not been caught in time, that arm would have been ruined." "No, Miles loves you," I countered, revealing how he'd threatened me for her sake. Vera's eyes grew vacant, murmuring, "Is that so? Brother Miles did all that for me?" After a pause, she shook her head, insisting, "You're lying. You won't fool me." Miles' voice emerged from behind, "Vera, stop this errant path." She shuddered, eyes darting evasively. Her greatest fear was Miles witnessing her at her worst, yet the more she dreaded it, the more it materialized. Miles, drenched in sweat and panting, had clearly sprinted here, apologizing, "Sorry, Rena, for troubling you." Seeing his gaze settle on me again, Vera snapped, shrieking, "Rena, I'll make you regret this forever," before toppling backward with my daughter. "No!" I screamed. A sheer drop lay behind, a fall meant certain death. Without time to think, my body reacted instinctively. A figure darted forth as Miles seized Vera's clothing instantly, while I clung to the rooftop edge, gripping the rope on my daughter, hauling her up bit by bit. Just as my daughter neared safety, chaos erupted anew. Vera's eyes darkened, and she shook off Miles' outstretched hand, clutching my daughter's small frame tightly, their combined weight yanking me outward. At the critical juncture, Miles grabbed my other hand. Vera and I dangled in midair. "Vera, do you want Miles to die with you?" I roared furiously. Her body stiffened, she lifted her head, gazing at Miles with infatuation, whispering, "Brother Miles, I'm sorry. And I love you." With that, she released her grip, letting herself plummet. "No!" Miles cried, his eyes splitting with anguish. Fortunately, Ethan arrived in the nick of time, and my daughter and I were saved. Miles collapsed at the rooftop's edge, eyes brimming with torment, while my daughter, deeply shaken, required a month of psychological recovery. Miles departed, leaving a letter. "Rena, I'm sorry for causing you such immense trouble. Because of me, your daughter nearly perished. Because of me, Vera lost her life. I'm consumed with regret and self-reproach, but it changes nothing. When I first met Vera, she strikingly resembled you in college, confident, bold, with a sharp-edged kindness. At times, I couldn't discern whether I loved you or her. When I hurt you, I wanted to sever my own hand. When Vera died, I felt an emptiness within. Perhaps I'm the scumbag they say, a heart split between two women. I'm leaving. Perhaps we'll never meet again in this life. In the next, if fate permits, I'll grasp your hand firmly and never waver again. In this lifetime, I'll yield you to Ethan, may you forever be happy and joyful, never again crossing paths with trash like me. Farewell. Holding the letter, I gazed into the distance, silent for a long while. Ethan stood behind me, a quiet companion.